You're listening to the Dissecting Discovery podcast with your Fountain of Thought hosts, Sonny Rain and Dennis Fountain. Resistance is futile.
This podcast may contain Star Trek Discovery spoilers, talk of Pon farr, and interspecies relations. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to Dissecting Discovery. This is episode 2, where we're going to talk about the battle at the binary stars. Sonny, what'd you think of the second episode on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'll give that one an 8.
I'm going to go with an 8.5. I really like the second episode much better than the first. So let's go over, again, very briefly, a synopsis of the episode. This episode is the second half of a two-parter.
Yeah, it should have been just one big 2-hour promotion.
It should have been a 2-hour premiere on CBS,
and then say,
go watch it on All Access.
Exactly.
I agree.
That was
because at the end of this, it's left in a huge cliffhanger as well.
Exactly.
So it would have worked out very well where I got viewers to sign up. I think CBS screwed the pooch on this one. They really should have made it a 2-hour episode.
And they're gonna screw themselves even more, because if you're gonna keep doing this cliffhanger everything, that means you have to watch every episode.
Oh well, they are doing that because it's an arc. It's a whole arc.
Well, okay. Well, if somebody decides all of a sudden, oh, there's a new Star Trek thing, they tune in on episode 6, they're going to be lost.
Well, no, because you can watch it from episode 1. That's the advantage of streaming. All the episodes are there.
Yeah. Well, again, you're the expert on that, but
it's unlike television. You tune in and you can watch it from the very beginning.
I like television where you have an episode.
Episodic television. That's what it is.
And you deal with an episodic event, and it comes to a conclusion. If you want to have a little
slow here or there, yeah,
that goes like Supergirl's been doing that. All of a sudden the episode ends, but the very last thing is debate you for the next episode.
the next episode.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, because at least if you want to go back and say, oh, I want to watch this particular episode. Mm-hmm. Okay, like look at The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You can't just sit there and say, oh, I want to go back and look at season 3, episode 9.
Right.
Who cares? You're not going to know episode 9 from 3, from 7. You have to watch it from the beginning.
They're all intertwined. Yeah.
It's just like one long, big motion picture.
It is.
And I don't like that.
I'm not fond of it either, but that's the way television is these days. Yeah, I agree.
And it's funny because that all comes back to daytime television when it was all soap operas.
It's true, yeah.
And they never did that. They spent their whole lives making shows that were just episodes, and that was the way things went.
Yeah.
But
now,
hence
the name episodes, because it was episodic television.
Right. Yeah. And like Gilligan's Island.
Yeah. Or even Stargate. Stargate had an underlying theme.
Yes,
but
Stargate.
You could pick any episode of Stargate you like, unless it was a two-parter, but you can pick any episode of Stargate and enjoy it for itself, for that episode.
Because of what you wanted to watch in it, but even though there was an underlying storyline.
An underlying current somewhere, you could still not be lost in it. Yeah,
but this thing with the keep, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous.
I agree, but that's what television is. That's the way it is. And some of the shows I won't watch because of that. I started watching that show with all the tattoos on NBC there. That girl who woke up in the middle of Times Square completely naked, covered in tattoos.
Yeah, you recommended it.
It was so good.
I bought that series based on your recommendation, and I loved it. But then after I watched the first season, I loved it, and I was going to buy the second. You said, don't bother.
Well, because they went crazy with it. I thought it was a perfect premise. She's covered in tattoos. Every episode, let's take one tattoo, and that's our episode, around that tattoo. They went bonkers. Another show that I liked was Quantico. I loved that show. And they went bonkers. I can't do this. I can't. Where I got to tune in and say, okay, wait a minute now. So-and-so is with so-and-so, and they're doing this with so-and-so, and this plan B is, it's too much. I don't like it. And I agree with you. But that's not where television is going these days. So we're in the minority on that. Back to Discovery. When we last left the crew of the Shenzhou, not Discovery.
We haven't seen Discovery.
We have not seen Discovery yet. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, that's why this should have been a 2.
Yes, this is a perfect pilot pre-log episode, where it should have been in its entirety as a ploy to get you to watch the series. So we left the Shenzhou, and they were going to fire on the Klingons, and the captain came in and said, no, belay that order. And now we find out that Michael has been arrested, and she's in the brig for mutiny. And she's stuck there, and they're trying for peace. And then all of a sudden, the fleet comes in. The Federation fleet comes in. And this is where I have a question. They start naming off the ships. The Odyssey, the whatever, the blah, blah, blah. I can't remember them all, but they all come in. Where's the Enterprise?
I know, huh?
If you're having this major battle with the Klingons...
I didn't even think about that because the Enterprise was the first.
It was in existence. Where is it?
Yeah.
Where's the Enterprise? And I know there's got to be some excuse of it.
Well,
it's somewhere exploring whatever.
The excuse for the producers is that we don't want to involve that.
We don't want to show it. That's what it is. Yeah. We don't want you to see what it looks like.
But you know what? I would have been daring and just put it in there.
We don't even have to see it. Just because there were so many ships there, let's not tell you which one is which, but let's at least mention the Enterprise. But I find it very hard. The flagship is not there.
But even if you did that, all you had to do was when it flew in, and you could have had fun with it. You could have said to Captain Pike.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah, you could have.
But again, we're talking about people much younger than us running a show that we grew up on. And the older we get,
we're going to be more critical. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, of course, we're going to be more critical because they don't get it. They just look. It's a cash cow. They're just looking for. I
think for some of them it is. Yeah, it's just a paycheck. But some of them are true fans.
Yeah,
there are.
I'm not saying fans, but I'm talking about obsessive.
Yeah. So this, by the way, the story for this episode is by Brian Fuller, and he's no minuscule player. But anyway, so now we need to decide what's going on, and the Admiral is there, which you would think he would be on the Enterprise, but he's not. I believe he was on the Odyssey. Is that where he was? I may not be correct in that. So the Admiral is there, and he finally gets through to Kuvma there. So he starts a dialogue and says, no, we come in peace, which is what Takuma was expecting them to say. And, we're going to talk this out. And then Takuma says, sure, here's my emissary party. They're coming over. Be ready. And instead of a landing party, he gets blown up. And then all of a sudden they're like, what's going on? And then this big battle scene takes place. Love it. Love the battle scene. Very, very, very well done on every level. On a military level, militaristic, what's the word I'm looking for? It's how a battle should be run. It was very realistic. I finally, after all of these years, love what happened with the ship being hit. We see these, these wires. Whenever the ship gets hit, we see sparks fly and wires fall or something. Or even in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, you see these beams come crashing down and everything. Now, finally, we see parts of the ship blown up and force fields in place. First time we saw that was in Generations when they blew out the deflector array and the force field came in to stop that, said, where's Kirk? Kirk was in that section, whatever. Loved it. They brought that over. It's very realistic. If you think in the future of what would happen, that's what would happen. Loved it. Thought it was very good. One of the best, and not everyone's going to pick up on this. This is me. I'm being a little hooty-tooty about this, but I just love watching the way movies and TV shows are filmed. They have the bridge of the Shenzhou is on a gimbal, and what a gimbal is it allows the whole set to move, and it's on a gimbal. And if you remember the scene when the captain gives an order, I don't know which direction, and instead of on the view screen you see it move, you see the whole bridge move. In other words, the camera stays still, the whole bridge turns as well as the view screen, which gives us, the viewer, the TV viewer, a different vantage point, a different look at how it is, and you get a really feel that the ship is turning. I loved it. I thought whoever was in charge of that did a fantastic job.
Okay, here's my complaints about
the battle scene.
Both episodes, but mostly the battle scene. Okay. Through the years, we've always been trying to upstage warp drive.
You mean with like transwarp and
no? When they go into warp drive.
I mean how it looks?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
That didn't bother me.
I didn't say it bothered me. I'm just saying I wasn't impressed.
Did you want them to change it? Because that's how it's been lately.
Well, no, I just want. Well, you pointed out on our regular Fountain of Thought show. how the transporter, if you really look closely, how
it's digitized now.
It's digitized. Well, and they did all that, and then all of a sudden you watch Warp Drive, it's like, I'm not.
It's the same as it used to be. It didn't,
I'm still impressed by 1978 Star Trek: The Motion Picture when they went.
Yeah, and you had the blur effect of the colors and things.
Yeah.
I did kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just
like that.
I just think it makes makes good TV.
Yeah,
but it just and then when they were when all the ships were coming in, they're just going.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, wow, that's more Next Generation than it is any other show that would be pre-existing.
Well, that's kind of how they've been. If you look at space battles and sci-fi in general, that's kind of how they've been going these days. So it's kind of in the realm.
Well, it makes sense because you're coming out of warp and you're just going to stop right where you are.
Right.
But I just thought I was waiting for something really spectacular and
okay, it's a valid point. So this battle is ensuing. And the Federation is losing badly. The Klingons are kicking their ass. They're losing. Now the Admiral gets zapped away. He's tricked and he's zapped away, and they're trying to save face and everything. And pretty much the battle is on the Klingon side. And the Shenzhou has lost propulsion, and they're drifting, and they're going to drift into this asteroid. Quasar and die. And the Klingon stops their pursuit of them, and they say, well, why do they stop? And he said, well, because they know we're going to drift and die. They're going to save their weapons for some other ship. They get saved at the last minute, but their weapons are destroyed. They have photons, but they don't have a way to fire them. They don't have phasers anymore. They have no way of fighting back. And as the battle continues on, the Klingons decide we've got this wrapped up. Let's get the hell out of here. But they leave the Shenzhou. The Shenzhou is the last remaining ship there. And they're left there for a reason, to tell the rest of the world or the Federation that, hey, the Klingons are here. We're superior. Go back and tell everyone we kicked your ass, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this part I thought was kind of nice. Now, the Klingons are collecting their dead. We've never seen that happen before.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, and I like that. And they were using some type of tractor beam to secure them back to their ship. The Shenzhou is looking for how to, destroy them. Michael Burnham is stuck in her the brig. Did like the way they did the brig. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I liked that the ship was destroyed in between, and she's got to find a way to get through. And I loved the conversation she had with the computer.
Oh yeah, that was.
I thought that was good. It was pretty ingenious. Sad to say that Majel Barrett is not the voice of the computer. She's passed, so she couldn't be.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, because that would have been really, really cool. We would have played good homage. But I like the computer interaction. I thought that was pretty smart the way they did that, and how she convinced the computer that she was going to die and to let her out. So now she's back, and while she's in there, she did this mind meld with Sarek. And we find that Sarek has part of his Katra left in her, because at one time she was near death. And
okay, before I forget, the mind meld.
Yes.
It's something I wanted to bring up. Thank God you said something, because I didn't have a note on it. When Spock did the mind meld in TOS, the way he used to put...
My mind to my mind, your thoughts.
Yeah, but the way he placed his fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, they didn't want to do that anymore. And I don't remember the reasoning for it.
Yeah. Well, they did it differently. They changed it.
Well, they took it off to the nose.
Yeah.
And they just did.
Well, I think my impression was it was always a personal thing, how one person did it to another person.
It was a big deal back then.
I know, but
they changed it for a reason, the producers.
Yeah.
But the point was the only person ever did the mind meld the way it's supposed to be, with the nose, and that was Spock. Now,
right.
I don't have a problem if we were dealing with, again, if we were in the future, who cares? But now we're just 10 years before Spock, and we're still doing the Next Generation type, and that pissed me off.
See, that didn't bother me because I was always under the impression that it's a personal thing. It's how one person interacts with another person and how they can do that. And Spock got it from Sarek, so Sarek has to be the originator of that particular.
Then the finger should be near the nose.
He should have his finger stuck up his nose.
Yeah, just like Spock did.
All right, so
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it. All right. So they're in this mind meld, and this is a new feature that we've never heard of before. that because your Katra is in someone, you can have some telepathic ability with them.
That's bullshit.
That's a little new. And yeah, I thought that was a little far-fetched. We had in Star Trek 3, we had that happen with McCoy and Spock.
The whole
and we
Star
never
Trek
had
3
any,
sucked because of that.
Yeah, we never had any.
You don't transfer your soul to somebody else and they carry it without knowing what's going on. I mean, that was very far-fetched. That's why that motion picture, I think, probably sucked down at the bottom of the barrel close
Actually,
to...
the odd ones did more financially better than the even ones did. Go figure.
Yeah, well...
My philosophy on that is that the even ones were better, and because they were better, more people came out to see the odd ones. Get where I'm going, That's my philosophy, because I can't figure out how the odd ones did financially better than the even ones, because the even ones were so much better.
Well, Star Trek 3 with all that whole bullshit with the
Klingons. Well, they killed the Klingons. They made them a joke. Star Trek 3 made the Klingons a joke.
Yeah,
with Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, first of all, you go, hey,
yeah. I didn't
kill the captain's son.
And I didn't like Robin Curtis. I didn't like the whole.
Everything about it sucked.
It was kind of bad.
And I know you hate Star Trek, the fifth one.
Yeah.
When the Search for God.
The Final Frontier there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Trek 5, the Final Frontier.
At least it was something different. When you went in to see that motion picture, you had no idea where they were going.
It was
with
different, yeah.
Yeah. But at least you sat through a motion picture saying, okay, I'm not predicting this, I'm not predicting
Well, I think
that.
5 was better than 3, I'll say that, yeah.
Oh, 3. I hated 3.
My favorites are 2, 4, and 6. Yeah.
2, 4,
and 6. Those are my favorite of those.
Me too.
Yeah. So, all right. So, we did this mental telepathy thing, and they're having discussion more about what's going on and how she failed and how you're not proud of me, blah, 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 whatever. And she's got to find a way to get to the captain because she feels that she has an insight on the Klingons that no one else does. And this is where it goes back to, I think, her background a little bit, is because she studied at the Vulcan Science Academy and at the Vulcan, whatever the middle school was there. I forget what it was, but she studied there as well. The only human, by the way, to have done that at this point in time. Well, she studied at the Vulcan Learning Center and the Vulcan Science Academy. Her job was the study of races. I can't think of the word, but that's what her job is. So she feels that she knows the Klingons better than anyone. So she rushes back to the bridge to tell the captain that how she needs to win this war and that she needs to capture Tukovma there and not kill him, because if she kills him, she's going to make a martyr out of him, and then it's going to make it worse. So now we're back in this battle, and the Klingons are taking their dead and they're bringing them back to the ship, and someone comes up with this brilliant idea. Which is, why don't we put a bomb on one of them?
Yeah, and that was really interesting. Like, how are they going to do this? Are they going to put it inside of them?
Yeah. So I'm assuming they just took the core of it, because I'm thinking a torpedo is a lot bigger than that little ball of explosive that was there. So they put him on, and then boom, he goes up, and it's in a key part of the ship, and it explodes. Now their shields are down, and now they can go over and do what they want to do and capture Tukovma. All right, so I'm all on board.
I was on board with that too. Yeah. But what happened?
Well, because now they go on board, and the battle occurs on the bridge of their ship, and they start fighting. Now, this is where I got some issues. They start fighting, and I like the look of the new phasers. They're awesome. I think they're exactly what they should be. They're a cross, but if you remember, in the pilot of Star Trek, their phasers turned. Remember, they could turn the end of it. They could turn it to had a different look to it. The original phasers had a different look to it.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, they could turn the head of it, where the shot comes out. You turn. That's the part you turned. The one where No Man Has Gone before too. It was shown in that episode as well. So they kind of took the end of that and put it with a regular phaser from TOS that we're used to. So I love the look of the phaser. Here's my problem with it. This is also in Star Trek 2009. They started doing this too. Blue now means stun and red means kill. And now on the phaser, where you would turn the knob in the back of the phaser, it's lit up blue. And then you change it and it's lit up red. So blue means stun, red means kill. why are you going to show your enemy whether you've got your gun on stun or kill? Because that's, to me, if you're going to stun me, what the hell? That's not going to stop me. I'm going to keep coming at you.
They're thinking that the enemy doesn't understand.
Doesn't know blue and red?
Well, no, they might know the colors, but they don't know what it means. But
see, I didn't mind that.
That's just saying to the person who's carrying the weapon that you're an idiot and you have to mark your weapon for exactly where you are.
I didn't like the color thing, showing the enemy the color that it was. But I liked the effect. I liked, the stun and then the red, and, red means it goes right through them. So I did like that. But then, of course, this battle occurs. Now, the other little problem I have with this battle, and it's not because they're women per se, but it's because they're humans. They put up this hell of a battle against these Klingons. Klingons, first of all, are twice their size, and they're Klingons. They're stronger. They're bred for battle. That should have been a much more one-sided battle, and the Klingons should have kicked their asses way better than what they did. So I was a little disheartened by that as well, because I thought for humans they fought extraordinarily well.
Well, that's a politically correct.
That wasn't. It should have been what I thought it should have been. Klingons just should have done so much more damage. But anyways, so now what they wanted to do didn't work out, and they cannot save this Tukuvma, that he's been killed. And now also killed in the battle is the starship captain of the Shenzhou. She's been killed as well.
And I liked her too.
She was a good character. Oh, I'm going to harken back. I forgot to mention this in the last episode. In the very first episode, what the hell was the part on the sand in that planet? It was all
my
sand.
God, I can't believe you just said that. I was just going to bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
But I didn't mind. I love the part of them making the Star Trek insignia in the sand. But what relevance did that have with this thing? None, unless it's being brought up later. I kept thinking, because they showed those creatures prominently, which I thought were cool creatures, by the way. I thought the look was awesome. I liked them. That's something we've never seen in Star Trek.
When they were doing the walking,
and they made the insignia in the sand.
I did like that. That was so cool. And all of a sudden you see the. But again, now that's another controversy. Voyager was supposed to be the first ship that could enter orbit and land.
Could land, yes.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden,
well, it didn't land.
Oh, I know it didn't land.
It came into the atmosphere. It didn't land, but it did come and get them.
They're stretching it from the Calvin timeline now, where we can submerge ourselves underneath an ocean.
Well, yeah.
Well, that didn't happen before because all the ships used to be in space dock, not on the planet.
That's true. But what is this whole bit of in the sand on that planet with no water? What's that got to do with the storyline? Nothing. That told nothing. That advanced the story no way. Had nothing to do with the plot. Had nothing to do with anything. Where did that come from? Were they short on time, or is this going to be something that they're going to show later on in the series? That little bit had nothing to do with anything.
That little creature gave it a little creepy look. So
that's what I mean. It had the essence of this is going to come into play later, but it never did. It never evolved into anything.
It might.
Well, it better, because that was a waste if you didn't. What, just to show that we can make a Star Trek insignia in sand?
But that was cool, though. You got to admit.
Oh, yeah, it was cool, and I thought it was cool, but
She's looking at the captain like, are you losing it? And all of a sudden, out of the clouds, here comes the ship. That was.
I mean, it didn't advance the plot any, unless the purpose of it was just to show the relationship between the captain and the first officer. If that was the only.
Well, I think that's all they were trying to promote during there. They were trying to show the 7 years that they became, like this.
Yeah, the brothers.
Yeah, can
the listeners see the viewing of what you're doing?
Can you see this, listeners?
Yeah. Get his fingers crossed, So, yeah, I forgot to mention that before. But, yeah, anyways. Now, the captain is killed, and I did like the last part where she wanted to take her body back, and then the science officer said, "No way, I'm beaming you back," which I thought was a little bold on his part, because she outranks him.
Which part?
The science officer. When she says she's trying to get to the captain, Berman is trying to get to the captain, Michael's trying to get to the captain.
Yeah, that was that.
And then she says, "I'm not leaving without her body." And then she goes to grab him, and then the science officer says, "No," and he beams her back. And I'm going, she outranks him. Why is he, I don't know. I thought that was a little strange. But I did like the bridge crew. We didn't delve into them so much. They were kind of like just parts of the ship at this point, with the exception of the science officer. The helmsman and everything, they went in on close-ups here or there, but we don't have any history on them whatsoever yet. So she's back on the ship, and now she's in big doo-doo because she's done all kinds of things. She's mutinied. She's disobeyed direct orders. She's done all kinds of stuff. So Michael's in deep trouble. It ends with her being going to jail for mutiny.
Yep.
That's how the episode ends.
And now begins Discovery.
What happens next is her time in prison, and then obviously the new captain of Discovery has something that he wants her from.
That's the other thing about I'm still trying to get used to with streaming is how to pause it. I didn't want to watch
You just hit the pause button. Same thing. Just hit pause.
Yeah, well, I did, and I caught enough of it to realize that okay, she's obviously going to prison, and but whoever is going to take the command of the Discovery wants her as first officer,
right?
So she's going to be
which
let
I think
out.
Is that harkens back to Tom Paris in Voyager.
Exactly, because she has the experience and she was at the battle,
right?
And blah blah blah, and that's where the series started. But yeah, the biggest screw ups was they should have just played those back to back, put it on as a big event on CBS.
Well, that's CBS's screw up. That's not the show, and I agree.
I didn't say it was the show. I said that's the problem that happened with these two episodes. They shouldn't have split them apart.
I agree. They should have been one episode. Absolutely, completely agree with that.
Because anybody who doesn't and is, obviously me, I don't know how to stream. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know what to do. So I get to watch
half of an episode and wonder what the heck is going on.
Yeah, and then what's the rest of the planet supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, I will say that overall, if I put both episodes together, I thought it was pretty good. It was a good introduction. Very different than anything in Star Trek we've seen before because it's a prologue to the series, really. And one of the things that I'm looking for is the Discovery, the actual ship. We haven't seen it yet. We know nothing about it.
That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
You should have just presented this as a opening movie.
Yeah. Well, it could be a movie in itself.
You're calling it Discovery, and we haven't seen Discovery yet. We've seen it. We know what it looks like, but we haven't seen the unveiling of the Discovery, the actual captain that's going to be on it. This should have been.
We've seen none of the crew.
Yeah, well, this is the point.
Yeah. Except for Michael, that we know is going to be first officer.
This should have been a 2-hour event on CBS, and they should never have done it after a double header on a football game.
Because it gets delayed and it's a problem.
And I lost 10 minutes.
Well, they did it for a tie-in. They were hoping for a big audience tie-in.
Yeah, well,
but as we talked about on the Fountain of Thought podcast, NFL numbers aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, they blew that all out of it. But hopefully, let's keep our fingers crossed. It looks interesting. It looks like it's going to be fun.
So now my big question is, what is the Discovery going to be? That's my big question, because they made mention several times about the Shenzhou being old, especially when she got beamed on, when Michael gets beamed on to the Shenzhou for the first time. And we see the transporters for the first time, which I kind of liked, with that kind of like that satellite dish in the background and on the transporter pad. And she said that something about the Vulcan Science Academy has not used these in years because we find they use too much energy or whatever. And the captain says, well, this ship is old. It's very old. So that was 7 years previous. So, and then we actually advance 7 years in the storyline. So the Shenzhou, by the time we're seeing it, is an old ship. I'm dying to see what the ship looks like. I love, and we're skipping ahead a little bit here, but I love the captain of the Discovery, the actor who plays him.
I haven't seen it yet, so don't even ruin it for me.
You don't know who it is?
No.
Oh,
I know nothing.
Okay, then I won't say anything. I like the actor, and I think he's going to bring some gravitas to the role.
Well, obviously, it's a he then. So.
It's a he, and it's the other thing I will tell you is he's a Southerner. He plays the captain is a Southerner.
Oh, wait a minute, that's what's his name? Who? Yeah, I did see that.
I think you know who it is. But we won't. That's all right. We'll save it for the next episode.
In The Patriot? Was he in The Patriot?
Yeah, he usually plays a bad guy. Yeah.
He was the mean little bastard that killed Mel Gibson's kids in The Patriot.
It's possible. I don't remember. It's possible. I don't remember. So, any final thoughts on Battle at the Binary Stars?
No, everything looks good so far.
Yeah.
It's gonna depend on. This is a very bold move on CBS's part, putting it on Total Access and launching a show that again, it's a prequel because, Enterprise.
Well, what you're saying is there's a lot of negatives for it to overcome. Is that what you're saying?
Not negatives, but a lot of
hurdles
to have to jump over because it's hard enough to start a series, any type of series.
Yeah, but
and starting a series, you want to make it easy. You don't want to make it hard for people.
Let's look at it this way. It's on CBS. It pulls in 15 million viewers the first episode. That's not too shabby. That's pretty good. So now that it's on All Access, it's their number one rated show. I guarantee you it's the number one rated show. It's pulling in viewers. People are subscribing simply because of Star Trek. So you go from good ratings to you are the SHIT. You're the king of the castle when it comes to streaming. You're number one.
You're the number one shit.
Yeah. I didn't want to say that, but yeah.
Why didn't you want to say that?
Because I was trying to keep this portion of the podcast a little clean. I think that's one thing that if they do have anything going for them, that's it. So if you look at the streaming, the way it goes, why would they cancel their number one rated show? In other words, there are a lot of hurdles we may think it needs to overcome.
As long as the viewership is there, yes, they'll
be number
going.
One.
Yes, but they're not going to spend the money if all of a sudden the numbers drop.
I don't think the numbers are going to drop.
Okay, I'm you know what? All hail Dennis, because I hope you're right, because I miss having a Star Trek show on TV. I'll take whatever they give me.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the streaming end. I mean, will it pull in the numbers that like a Netflix or a Hulu can do? I don't know yet. They don't have that type of viewership yet. Netflix is huge.
I told you before. When Next Generation, and then it's 3 years into that, we went to Deep Space Nine, and then we went to Voyager. It was all the same concept. It was all the same uniform. Everything was just the same. It was just one big, huge conglomerate Star Trek universe. This is definitely different. Yes, and that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Just like I love the idea when they did the Calvin universe.
Yeah.
For the new Star Trek, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about when you go in and sit down and watch Captain Kirk again and say, "Oh, we know what's going to happen." No, we don't know what's going to happen.
The timeline's been changed, so now it's completely different.
Yeah, and that's what people need. They want something new, something different to watch.
Well, we said again, we're digressing a little bit, but we said for years and years, even before any of these movies came about, we would love to see. We were thinking television. We would love to see a whole new Kirk, Spock, and McCoy come aboard and redo the series again. We've said that for years.
They did a fantastic job
of emulating what they should be. Yeah, my favorite scene.
My favorite character in the Calvin universe is
McCoy.
Urban.
Yeah, McCoy.
My God, he hit that. He got that,
didn't he?
Right on the.
And then my favorite thing for Pike, the best scene, which reminds me of the William Shatner Kirk so much, is when he's doing the Kobayashi Maru, and he comes in and he's sitting in his captain's chair and he's eating the apple, and he says, "Yeah, go ahead, fire phasers, Captain. Yeah, go ahead, whatever, I don't care." That was so much like Kirk. And that was all ad-libbed, by the way. That wasn't in the script. He ad-libbed that apple thing all on his own.
Chris Pine is very good.
And that was good. And then the other scene is it's the very end of that movie when he walks in, the turbo elevators open, the doors open, and he walks in, and he's got that little strut, that is exactly a William Shatner strut. Oh, yeah. The way he stops kind of in mid-track and looks. And so, yeah, I agree with you.
They casted that so well. Yeah. And that the guy from Heroes.
Yeah, Spock. Quentin.
That was excellent. Yeah. Excellent choice.
Yeah. Everyone is good. Scotty, everyone is cast perfect.
And then they put twists in it, like O'Hara with Spock.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. And
except for making Sulu.
No, I don't even mind that. I mean, they were doing that to honor George Takei.
But he didn't even want it. Even he didn't want it.
But nobody asked him. That's the problem. They just did it to, just to be politically correct, I guess. Yeah. And he got offended because he took it the wrong way.
Right.
But I don't have a problem with that. The thing that I loved the best was Chekhov. He was so good.
Yeah.
And to be squashed in his own driveway by his own car. That's heartbreaking.
It's a tragedy.
He was so good. He was such a good actor. Yeah. Anton Yelchin.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode, folks. Tune in next week for another Dissecting Discovery episode. We will go over Context is for Kings. That is the title of episode 3 of Star Trek Discovery, and we look forward to seeing you then, everyone. Sonny, sayonara.
Live long and prosper.
Thank you.